How many of these anime, manga, and comic book verses will the one that nobody's dressing up for on Baldwin Frieza from Dragon Ball be able to conquer? And as you can see at the top, there's no Frieza Force here. It's just him. And let's start out by getting rid of the ones that he's definitely not going to conquer. And those are going to be the Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and Bleach verses. Because when it comes to Marvel and DC, there are way too many heavy hitters in these verses that Frieza just cannot touch. And while you can say that the Bleach verse doesn't have the stats to win, they more than make up for that with their hacks that are going to make it essentially impossible for Frieza to conquer the verse. Now there are 3 maybes on this list in the Black Clover, 7 Deadly Sins, and Invincible verses. Because when it comes to Black Clover and the 7 Deadly Sins, they do have a lot of hacks that might be able to stop Frieza depending on how you argue certain things. And when it comes to Invincible, it really depends on what point of the series we're talking about here. If Thrag and his Viltrumites are still around for Frieza to run Roughshod over and use as a fighting force against the rest of the verse, it's definitely possible that Frieza could win. But if we're talking about it at the end of this series, it's going to be really hard for him to beat a unified universe under Mark. And that's if Frieza doesn't play with his food, but if he does get too frustrated, he could just blow up a lot of planets, and that's going to put a lot of these guys in a bad situation. But there are 2 verses that he's definitely going to end up conquering. Those being the Naruto and One Piece verses. Because while these verses aren't weak by any stretch of the imagination, but if he ends you, I just might let him into the Bald Brotherhood. There's a lot of infighting involved here, and they don't have the stats or hacks to really make up for that. Which leaves us with these results.